Active and passive voices. We have learnt that a verb can be transitive in a sentence where the subject is the performer of action and the object is the receiver of action. When it is so, we say that it is the active voice of the verb. Let us examine these sentences. Hariharan makes sparrows nesting homes. Sunita painted this picture. Nazir repaired the music system. Subject, Hariharan. Verb, makes. Object, sparrows nesting homes. Subject, Sunita. Verb, painted. Object, this picture. Subject, Nazir. Verb, repaired. Object, the music system. We have also learnt that in sentences where the verb is intransitive, this is not true, because the action doesn't move nor is it transferred, as we can see in these examples. Baby cried. Flowers bloomed. Active voice. We can observe that in the active voice, the action is expressed directly, and so the verbs are in the active form. Let us have some more of them in their different tenses. Present simple. She teaches computer science. Present continuous. She is teaching computer science. Present perfect. He has just learned computer science. In the same way, you can see its function in the other tenses too. Passive voice. In the passive voice, it is the subject which receives the action. The object takes the position of the subject, so the verb is passive. These dolls are manufactured in China. The village was submerged by flood water. These sweets are prepared by students. You can see how the forms of verb change in the passive. To check this, let us try them in the active voice and then see how they are in the passive voice. China, subject, manufactures, verb, these dolls, object. These dolls, object, are manufactured. Auxiliary verb be plus verb in past participle by China, subject. Verb changes. Manufactures becomes are manufactured. Flood water, subject, submerged, verb, the village, object. The village, object, was submerged. Auxiliary verb be plus verb in past participle by flood water, subject. Students, subject, prepared, verb, these sweets, object. These sweets, object, are prepared, auxiliary verb be plus verb in past participle by students, subject. It can be observed that a sentence in the passive voice which needs by to make sense is better expressed in the active voice. Most of the accidents are caused by rash driving. Rash driving causes most of the accidents. But we should note that in English, the passive voice is more often used than the active voice. Let us see how. Passive voice is used when the active voice would mean using an infinitive or vague pronoun or noun as subject. We have been cheated. Someone has cheated us. The road had to be broadened. They had to broaden the road. You are expected to score high marks. They or we expect you to score high marks. Passive voice can be used when we want to avoid making an awkward change of subject in the middle of a sentence. When the minister arrived, he was greeted by protesters with black flags. When the minister arrived, the protesters greeted him with black flags. When the children performed, they were cheered by the audience. When the children performed, the audience cheered them. Passive voice is useful when the statement has to be impersonal. The changes which have been made in the timetable will be effective from the next week. The changes we have made in the timetable will be effective from the next week. New rules are being introduced in the school. We are introducing new rules in the school. We can use the passive voice to shift the emphasis from the subject to the object.
Normal life was affected on Monday by the national Bandh. Or, normal life was affected by the national Bandh on Monday. The national Bandh affected normal life on Monday. A story was written by Rakesh, or Rakesh wrote a story.
In sentence 1, in active voice, we are talking about the national Bandh and how effective it was. Whereas, in passive voice, we are more interested in what happened to regular life than the Bandh itself.
Similarly, in sentence 2, in active voice, Rakesh is emphasized, but in passive voice, story gets the emphasis.
Reported speech. Wait for me. Praveen says this to John. Wait for me. John may convey this in basically two different ways. John may say, Praveen said, wait for me. Or, Praveen said that I should wait for him. Praveen asked me to wait for him. In sentence 1, John is conveying the message in Praveen's own words. This is direct speech. In sentence 2, John is conveying the message in his own words. This is reported speech or indirect speech. In the process of encoding spoken words and decoding reports, a number of complex operations take place. We should remember that the reported speech is introduced by verbs say, tell, ask, request, admit, etc.
Let us also bear in mind the following. The reporter is someone other than the original speaker, and the one who receives the report is different from the one who received the message first. Even the place and the time of the original report may be different from the situation in which it is now being conveyed. We need to make some necessary changes while reporting. This would involve the correct use of pronouns and the tense of verbs and adverbs.
We have already dealt with these aspects of the reported speech last year. Let us see how verb tenses change. Present in the direct speech becomes past in the reported speech. I becomes she because the one who is reporting is a different person. Asha said, I want a glass of water. Direct speech. Asha said that she wanted a glass of water. Indirect speech. Note the change of pronoun and verb. Present perfect becomes past perfect in the reported speech. I have been reading. Jason said, I have forgotten the grammar workbook. Jason said that he had forgotten the grammar workbook. I changes into he.
Present perfect continuous changes into past perfect continuous in the reported speech.
Smita said, I have been reading in the library. Smita said that she had been reading in the library. I becomes she. Past changes into past perfect in the reported speech. They said Kabir went to Dubai. They said that Kabir had gone to Dubai. Past continuous becomes past perfect continuous in the reported speech. Geeta said, I was planning to visit Varanasi.
Geeta said that she had been planning to visit Varanasi. I changes into she.
We should make a special note of this. Shall changes into would in the reported speech. He said, I shall take it up. He said that he would take it up. I changes into he. They said, we shall do it. They said that they would do it.
We changes into they. May changes into might in the reported speech.
She said, I may be late. She said that she might be late. I becomes she. There will be no change in verb form if the reporting verb is in the present tense. Ganesh says, I am happy here. Ganesh says that he is happy here. I becomes he. There is no change if the reported matter is still true. The geologist said, the Western Ghats are old mountains. The geologist said that the Western Ghats are old mountains.